Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Abroad show, the Monday show, the happy time, the happy show, because we're talking about a win and I had to bring Shannon back for another Blue Abroad show. Miss Shannon Gore from the Cheer Squad, how you doing?
Good, Tez. How are you going?
I'm good. We were just talking off air about how weird it was that we were talking about that we would take a 6-goal loss or less. and now we've got, it's just so calm. I got my tea. I'm happy. I'm not stressed. I mean, there's a bit going on, but it's all good.
It is. It's always good on a Monday after a win, and especially when you play on a Friday night and you have the whole weekend to enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, look, there's to be honest, I know that it's calm and it's peaceful, but there's a lot that went on this week.
There is a lot that went on this week.
There's a lot that went on this week. So what we'll do is we'll get the show started, get the intro rolling. And we're going to get into it because there's a lot to talk about. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
What's going on for internet?
Martin's been very impressive every single time.
Thanks to all the Carlton supporters and thank you for all the love.
Great sense of playing Glasgow. And there's a vented ball. The ball inside 50. Control! He strikes it beautifully. He's got it.
Just hits differently after a win, Shannon.
I love the intro. Every time I watch it, I just get the chills. I'm just like, G up.
Yeah, it's become the part of the show that it'll be there forever. So,
I think so.
Before we do continue, I do want to give a big shout out to the members of the channel. There's 92 of you now. It's unbelievable. Thank you very much for your support. Your names are all there. We have members, finals members, and premiership members. 3 different tiers. If you are interested in the audience to support the channel and help give back so we can grow things and buy equipment. And we're getting a brand new computer built over the next few weeks. That's really what it's all about. So thank you very much to everyone. Your names will appear on the bottom of the screen now. All right, Shan. Now, we had an AFLW draft over the week.
We did. I actually watched it.
Yes, we did. Now, it's a bit tricky because I haven't really been able to watch. I don't really watch like the under-18s competition or the VFLW competition. We can't go. But are you aware of any of the girls that we drafted and who we brought in?
I watched a bit of the draft, only because I knew a couple of girls that had nominated themselves, and thankfully one of our girls from Pascoe got picked up by Richmond. But I've seen bits and pieces of the highlights that they showed on the show. Not really aware of them, obviously because of not being able to watch the NAB League or go and see the NAB League that the girls all come from. But I know one of them is definitely a bagger.
Okay, yes.
Annie Lee. They did an interview with her and she had a cutout of Patrick Cripps in the lounge room with her. So it was fantastic.
It was good to see. I loved it. I love that little clip. So she was the pick 10, right?
Yes, she went pick 10. Keely Shearer, I want to say, went 11, and then we got Brooke Vickers at 23, Imogen Milford at 26, and then we passed on our last one, which means we can pick up someone in the off season.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a new era.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a good chunk of the AFLW season this year, and obviously you lose a bit of your heart when you lose both Hosking twins, and there's some big names to bring it up.
Look, I spoke to Jess afterwards, and I'm like, "Why you do me like this?" But I trust that she knows what she's doing, and I wish her all the best. I wish both Hosking twins all the best, except when they play Carlton.
Absolutely, no, spot on, spot on.
I'm excited to see all these new girls come up and see what 2022 brings all starting December.
Well, it looks like they've really pushed into this new era, and they've made the decisions that they need to make, tough decisions, but sometimes you've got to make tough decisions to move forward. So look, wish them all the best, and I just want to welcome the new girls to the club because it's exciting for them.
It is, and it's a proud club to be joining. So hopefully they enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. Now the ride, it is a ride. That's a great word. The next item on the agenda shows that. The constitutional reform. So we brought it up last week. We received an email last week with proposed changes. To be honest with you, I didn't look at them properly before last week's show. I looked at them again. There's a whole new constitution that's been put forward. We've obviously had Vince Lochisano, a life member of the footy club, who's come out in the Herald Sun on Friday with a big article, strongly opposing the changes and more so wanting to bring light to the fact that they're not all as rosy as what they first seem, and there's voting rights that are being extended, and I guess more time for the current board to keep, I guess, in power. It's tough because it's legal jargon, and the common person doesn't always, first of all, read such things. And then I guess what I wanted to ask you, Shannon, and you guys at home, like what are you making of the situation as it is right now? Because we have until the 17th of August to decide yay or nay.
Yeah, so I can see pros and cons on both sides of what's going on. I mean, I love some of the ideas that they want to bring to the table and the changes they want to make, but some of them I'm not quite sure myself getting my head around what they actually want to do. Like, I've had a read of it, but I feel like I need to go back and really read it. I respect Vince and his opinion, and I respect everybody and their right to vote. I'm still on the fence about which way I want to go, but I feel that if we could individualize it and just go yes, no, like we had a quick brief discussion about it, I feel like it might be the way to go. But yeah, I'm yay for some things, nay for others.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm with you. There's probably like 2 or 3 or 4 of them which I just disagree with, and the others are just fantastic and they're great and they're important and they're in line with modernizing the club and moving forward with the modern world and how it operates and whatnot. I guess I just want more clarity around why are we wanting to give more time to Luke Sayers, who's going to come in. He's going to be able to extend his term, his maximum term. Why are we doing that? Why do they want to do that? What is the purpose of that? I think I just want more clarity around the mentality about that, the motivation behind that. Luke's obviously someone that I don't know anything about.
I'm not too sure either. But look, if they can come out and give us a little bit more clarity, then I'm sure that we won't be as up in arms about it. But yeah, like I said, I'm still yet to really have a good look at it myself. But I've seen some of the good things. I've seen some of the things that are not so great. But like, everyone's entitled to have a look at it, and I encourage people to have a look at it. But yeah, everyone has the right to vote and decide what they want, what's best for their club.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's more about being informed. Like I was going to chat with Vince on Wednesday, and I'm rescheduling that and rejigging that a little bit because I feel like it's important to hear both sides. Yes, we have one side against, which is very strong in its opinion, and that's great. But I really want to have a structured debate. So for those of you watching at home, if anybody is interested, we're looking for 2 people to join the 4 camp. So we're going to have a debate very much like we did with the David Teague one a few weeks ago or about a month ago. It'll be structured. It won't be a screaming match. It'll be sort of 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. Round 1, round 2. We'll hear it all. I think it's important to put it all out on the table. And I think that's the way to go rather than just hearing one side constantly. It's important. So if there is anyone out there that's keen to argue the 4, because we've got a couple that are against already, please get in touch with me and we're going to set it up for penciling it in for next Wednesday at like 8 p.m. It'll be live and you'll be able to all watch it because the following week is the 17th and that's really when the vote comes and we'll have some more information about that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting one. It'll be a good debate to actually listen to it and hear different points of view because everyone's got a different point of view on everything really when it comes to Carlton and not just at the board level, but obviously at the players level and the coaches level. Like, we've had discussions pretty much every year about the same thing. So it'd be good to see a nice healthy debate. I
agree. It's all about being informed. Let's move on. There's a lot to talk about, but I don't want to harp on about it too much.
Yeah.
The external review. So this is interesting. This is very interesting because the article came out a couple of days ago and there is, there's some preliminary findings and whatnot, and that's great. What have you seen the article?
I've seen bits and pieces, but I'm one that doesn't really like believing the Herald Sun, just in
Yes.
general. So I don't know what to make of it, but if they are the preliminary findings, wow. I'm a big believer of wait until the club tells me. That's just me, especially when it comes to like players out and that sort of stuff. So if they are the preliminary findings, well then come out and tell us. Don't let a third party like the Herald Sun be the ones to break it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, what got me was, all right, the article reveals a few things, Hollywood lifestyles and whatnot. That's nothing that it's a surprise to anyone. But to be honest, it was very similar to the Reddit thing that was posted last week.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder a couple of things. Did the Herald Sun just use that Reddit post? Is that Reddit post really from someone who's in the know? And also, why is this shit getting leaked out? Why are we a club that has such information leaked all the time? Why is it happening? It's really, to be honest, it's really indicative of an administration that's not soundproof. And that's probably why we're having a review. That's probably why we're having such bombs thrown with constitutional reforms and oppositions. And it really just makes up to explain the situation that we're in.
Yeah, and I think leaking of information has been a thing at the club for years. Yeah. Like Brendan Bolton taking over Malthouse was the worst kept secret. David Teague taking over, worst kept secret. You know what I mean? Like getting rid of Brett Ratton and bringing in Mick Malthouse, worst kept secret. So if this Reddit article and the Herald Sun article are true, I agree. Why is it being leaked out? Why can't we just wait for the review to be complete and then let the findings come out in one massive hit? Like I honestly, reading that Reddit article, I don't believe we're going to pay out Marchbank. That was just outrageous. So I don't know if someone's just trying to gaslight everybody or if it's genuine. Yeah,
we're a soap opera, this club. We're honestly, we're a movie. There's just so much drama and twists and turns and backstabbing, and there's a lot of we're seriously a movie. It's unbelievable.
It's the days of our lives, Carlton edition.
It seriously is, and I don't see it ever changing. Honestly, it's kind of what makes us who we are. Like the drama's kind of, we're like a dysfunctional family.
Yep. I don't know. I honestly, anything that comes out anymore, I'm just like, okay, what's next?
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's nothing really surprising to me in that article about, all the names that were thrown up, the names that potentially leaving, all of that. I guess I just wanted to get your thoughts and see how it sat with you. But it looks like we're going to get some sort of clarity soon. I don't know about if is this like report going to be made public? Well, I mean, it's been leaked. I mean, this has been leaked, so I'm assuming the report will be made public.
Well, you would want to hope so now. Maybe they probably weren't going to make it, or they're probably going to give elements of it to the public. Probably not the full thing, probably just the key points around, like, obviously the playing group, around David, around his assistants and that sort of stuff. That'll probably come out. But I don't know if the full report will be made public.
I wonder if there's a way for us to see it. I mean, I guess, do you want to have it put out there for the public? I don't know. It's just a mess, man. Like, why can't our own people do such reviews, I guess? Why do we need to get external reviews done?
There's obviously a reason why they've got an external review, because the internal review hasn't worked in the past. And they're obviously seeking something different, a different element from an external point of view, from the outside looking in. And obviously, if you're looking from the internal and they do an internal review, it's all rose-colored glasses point of view. We'll see what happens. I'm keen to see what this review brings, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is keen to see what this review brings, because obviously we want it to bring change for the better.
Yeah.
Whether it's with David Teague, whether it's without David Teague, is yet to be seen, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, my thing is more about, I'm obviously keen to see what the review says, but my main thing is what are the actions that are going to be taken after the review happens?
Yeah.
You know, like it's all good. We can identify. I mean, I think all of us I'd be surprised if something comes up in the review that the fans haven't really identified already. I'd be shocked. I honestly would be shocked if there's something that's just like mind blowing for all of us as to what comes up in this report, because it's like culture or standards or whatever. Like we've all tabled everything. We watch everything as fans. As us as well, we literally read every word, we listen to every word, and I really would be surprised if there's something that we didn't know about already.
It'd have to be an absolute bombshell, really, like you said. I don't even want to think about what kind of bombshell is going to come out, to be honest.
Yes. Well, listen, let's move on. Just like the club want us to do, we'll talk about the win. Let's talk about the win.
The dub.
The dub. Talk to me about your experience, and everyone at home, as we do every week, can you please write 3 words to sum up what Friday night was for you? So, Shannon, the floor is yours.
Where was that? Are my 3 words. Where was that?
Yeah.
The pressure in the forward half was insane. 52 tackles to half time. What? Like, I watched it back again today just before the show, and I'm like, what? That first 10 minutes was we took a little bit longer to get off the mark, obviously with Max King kicking 3 goals, and I'm thinking, here we go. I was watching Pom and Cardman. I was watching the live. You probably saw half my comments were F this, F that. But no, it's like they listened to the fan cams the week before. They actually cleaned up pretty much every area that we identified where we went wrong against North Melbourne. The defensive pressure was there. We didn't let them rule the corridor. We scored off their errors. The only downside to the entire night was the fact that BT kept saying, "Oh, 1 more goal and St Kilda are back in it." I could have thrown something at the TV. That man has not got one nice thing to say about Carlton. But other than that, I actually thought it was a fantastic effort, and I don't understand where it's been for the entire year.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. There is a little bit of that. There's actually a lot of that. I mean, obviously, you don't want to get too negative. You want to enjoy the wins and all of that. But I think for me, it was more like it was just like validated for what we've been crying out for, because we like that. This isn't it's a surprise that it came this late, and I'm sure that the result was a surprise, but what they're capable of and what they did is probably not a surprise to anyone, because we know that they can do it if they apply themselves. And
it's amazing what a little rocket up the backside will do. Like, we've known for so long that this group can go places, and we've got the list and we've got the capability. It's just something's just not clicking, and something clicked on Friday night. Whatever they drank before the game, drink it again for the rest of the year.
I can't help but feel like there was an energy. I mean, there's a few things at play. There was obviously a very tough week on the track. No bullshit on social media. They were almost silent. No gibberfish, no mucking around, no Area 51. What do you think? None of that crap. It was like there was just a seriousness about him. And I think Charlie coming back and Honey in the side, like it's just an energy. There was a different energy about them. There really was. It was serious, but it was also very exciting. And I think Charlie is a big piece of that.
Oh, I think I spoke to Pom just before the game, and I'm like, if you can just get through unscathed, no funny business, nothing, just get through the game. Then he just decides to kick a 60-meter bomb off one step. Okay, that's going to exaggerate anything else. That's fine. Just don't leap. Just don't leap. Don't land. Stand still.
No, I'm with you. What were like the key moments for you that were definitive for the game? Where you look back on?
I think it was Josh Honey. Something about Josh Honey's forward pressure and his ability to win his own footy and still deliver to his teammates, and not just be that show pony kind of, I'm going to kick all the goals. I feel like his ability to win his own footy and find the footy and get around his teammates was just something we've been lacking.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I honestly thought he had a fantastic game. For all of his knocks, LOB actually had a decent game. Like he can hit a target when he wants to. Maybe this might be the rocket up his backside that he's needed. Because I know in the VFL, we've seen him. He's been lazy in some games.
Just going back on Honey.
Yeah.
Back on Honey, I'm with you. I think what it also allowed us to do is all of a sudden, you don't need Zach Fisher in the forward line to be creative. You can play Zach Fisher a little bit up the ground. And to be honest, love Fish, but I just don't think he's a forward. I mean, I think he can go through the forward line and run into the forward line, but I think he needs to be more up the ground. That's it just looks better. I don't know.
He won the ball a lot in the middle, and I said it on Saturday on Riley's show that his ability to win the ball in the middle was fantastic, and he was able to propel us out of that center. If Walshy wasn't in there, if Cripper wasn't in there, and it was just him and Kennedy. So I tend to agree that they weren't really utilizing Fish. I know last year he kicked 4 goals against West Coast and a one-off, but he's not a forward. And I think Honey is a genuine small forward that we've been craving and wanting without going so far and not putting him in. Like now that he's in, I hope he can stay in. And I think he's going to be an excellent small forward for us post Eddie Betts when he does retire, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't. I mean, he just looked. I remember his games last year. He just looks so much more better developed. And that's it. We talk about development. We've been talking about it all year on the show. That's a credit to the coaches, the assistants, Luke Power. Give him some credit because Honey looked like he was absolutely ready at the level to the point where we're all saying, where's he been? And I think when you're saying something like that and you're thinking like that, that goes to show how good they look at the level. Now, of course, it's only one game and we don't want to get carried away and all of that. But at the same time, you want to be able to see that they're capable.
Yep. And I think the fact that we waited so long for Liam Stocker as well, we're reaping the rewards now. And I just hope it's the same when it comes to playing Ramsey, when it comes to playing Durden, when it comes to playing Kemp, that the time and effort they're putting into them at the VFL level, when they do come up, they'll dominate like Josh Honey. We don't want them to just be in and out of the side like all of our other second-tier players that we used to have. We want them to be the ones to take over from the likes of Eddie Betts, the ones to take over from Ed Kerno, the ones to take over from Mark Murphy. We want them to be there for a long time. We want longevity out of them. We don't want to burn them out like we did with Dow at the start of his career. Just like play him from the get-go, 0 development, straight into the seniors. And now look how good Dow's coming because he's had that time in development in the 2s. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Paddy Dow, I don't want to get too carried away, but like I think it's happening. I think it's starting, like the penny's starting to drop.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah, it's so reassuring. It's so exciting, and it's not about who was right and who was wrong. It's more about Paddy Dow and
how good.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, it's like he knows what he wants to do. It's like the experience is all of a sudden showing, and who knows? Who knows? Was it a combination of a couple of things going back into the midfield? I don't know. But the fact is he's looking a lot more reassured with how he's playing.
His explosiveness out of the middle or in any contest is the best I've ever seen from him. And he's got that strength now to be able to, in the hips, to be able to explode like that. And it's something we've been wanting from him and calling out for him for years now. And if he can sustain that, we found ourselves a gem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's be honest. We really need it to be, Cripps, Walsh, and Paddy Dow. Like that, in an ideal world, they are the corner pieces of the midfield, and he needs to become one more of them. He's getting his 20. We probably need to get him up to that 25 a game type midfield, and he doesn't have to do it straight away, but he's building towards that. I think Kennedy, I get it. He's got a pair of hands and he's strong and he can take a mark and kick for goal. But for me, he's a midfielder. Let's not muck around with it. He is a midfielder the way he tackled on Friday night. I mean, they all tackled phenomenally, but Kennedy led the team with 10 tackles.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's
and
just
he's
brilliant.
a rookie listed player. Just remember that.
He is. He is. He absolutely is.
They gave him his opportunity and he's taken it with both hands and he hasn't looked back.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have taken for us to re-list him as a rookie for him to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't mind that he's taken it, but you know what I mean?
Look, the key is, I mean, if he's to get a new contract, which I'm going to assume that he will, the key is, can he remain hungry? And, there's always that notion in world sport, you get the big contract, the big money, you work hard to get it, and then your effort and your intensity just isn't the same.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like Brodie Grundy's been an example. I've heard the Collingwood fans talk about it a lot. I think the Zach Williams example is another one that's closer to us. Is he working as hard as what he was before he got the big contract? Who knows? But I want to see Kennedy earn himself his deal and then stay hungry. That's, I think, the key.
Yeah, 100%. And he's shown that he's earned that contract, but like you said, the hunger needs to be there forever now. Like you can't let up. You can't just go backwards because we've seen how well you can play football. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But it's always good talking after a win because you always think you get all the positives.
It's easy. No, it's easy. It's easy. Before we get into the votes, what was your, let's say, your subplot of the game, like your storyline of there's so many storylines, but what was the one that really hit home for you?
Oh, I think it was just the intensity for me. I just loved the way they got around Honey when he kicked his first goal. There was a lot of camaraderie, and that was something that I haven't seen from them from a very long time. So that's probably one of the big things that came out of it for me was the camaraderie and the actual willingness to play for each other, not as individuals.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going straight to the top. I'm going to Cripper, and I spoke about it in my review. I just noticed a different mentality from him, and a lot of people, there's this notion of, he's done so much and I get it. 2018, 2019, it was so great, but great. Yes, but he needs to still do it. Now it's 2021. And I felt like we were getting sucked into what he had done in the past. Like the job was done and like it was over and that's it. He's done his time and that's it. Like I was watching Sydney yesterday and you look at Josh Kennedy. He has been an inside beast for a lot longer than Cripps and he's still going. So the reason why I bring Cripps up is there was a contest at the beginning. Rather than just settling for a ball up at the bottom of the pack, he willed himself out of the pack. And that's really what he made his name on, being that ultra competitive midfielder. And the help is there. Sam Walsh is there. He's better than him now. He's got it. He's right there,
Just get the ball out to him.
Yeah. I think just going back to the basics and starting with the intensity at the contest is all we really need from Cripps. I don't really think we need 35 possessions from Cripps anymore.
No. Look, even just the contested possessions for me is enough. Throwing his body in there and actually getting the ball out and winning the footy for the team. Yeah. I like Natalie's one, Jack in the Ruck. Yeah, that was a good one.
Love that. That's obviously a big one. Let's go to the votes. So you guys at home, please put your 3, 2, and your 1. We will then have another round for honourable mention. Shannon, who'd you go with for your votes?
I went 3 to the GOAT, Sammy Walsh, because, he's a GOAT.
Yep.
Kid's going to win a Brownlow.
Yes. Got
to give 2 to Harry for his 5. Thought he combated them really well. And 1 to Jack Silvani for his effort after TDK went down. To ruck all day was just insane. So they're my 3.
Love it. Mine were the same as Blacker Outs here. I went 1 to Harry, 2 to JSOS, and 3 to... I mean, it's so tough. I'm not discrediting Jack Silvani by not giving him the best on. I understand it was a big deal and he went in the ruck. But Walsh, just the goal kicking when the game was there to be won, he's
Yep.
I don't know. He's a special one. I want to show you guys something as well. So I got these made, and they're going to be released on the shop, the Blue Abroad shop tomorrow. So
I love
fuck
that.
yeah t-shirts.
Look, you know how many times I've watched that goal with the fucking goat outside before it? I can't. That is the funniest video that we've posted on the Cheer Squad, and full credit to Nick for making it. That was funny as I can't. Every time I'm playing it, and my husband's like, "You watching it again?" And I'm like, "Yes." Greatest goal, and it's the whole day afterwards.
Yeah, he's a special one, and who knows? I mean, there's still 3 games left, and a Brownlow run is coming. I think he ticks the boxes for what umpires look for. A guy that can play a bit inside, outside. He's now got the goals. You know, we've won 8 games. If we win,
3.
Kick 3. Yeah, kick 3. And it was really when the contest was there to be won or lost. It wasn't junk time. I think maybe this will be part of the honourable mention, but what was your honourable mention, or who was your honourable mention? And you guys at home, who was your honourable mention?
Josh Honey was my honourable mention. I thought he came into that side and just slotted right in, fitted right in, attacked the footy, tackled well, put the pressure axe on in the forward line. I don't actually think the ball came out of our forward line as easy as it has in the last few weeks. So yeah, Josh Honey for mine.
He's got some serious sprint ability. He really goes.
Yeah, and the amount of times I saw the honey pot in chats that I was in, I think I even put a honey pot on my Insta story after the game too. So Josh Honey, definitely my honourable mention.
Yeah, I love it. I went really, really left field, and I initially didn't appreciate his game until I've gone back and looked at it again. But Willow. So and the reason why I'm bringing him up is because I think we've found something here with Willow where I think he's almost better suited at this point to be a little bit more up the ground, forward of centre. Is it a wing role? I just thought the way he got his goals was due to gut running, and I'm really happy because I thought he lost his way a little bit this year when he started the year, and I remember saying, "Oh man, like what's happened to Willow?" And I think he's working his way back.
Look, I think they've decided to play him where they played Will Setterfield towards the end of last year. They kind of started playing him on the wing, and I think he's built to play the wing because of, like you said, the gut running that he does. He does the two-way running. And he kind of, the last couple of weeks, I was talking to a few people and they kind of changed his position against North Melbourne.
Yeah.
And played him in more of a defensive role. And he kind of looked a little bit lost. But as soon as I put him back onto that wing, killed it on the weekend. So maybe they found where he's actually meant to be. And it's amazing what happens when you play players in their actual positions. Like they put Ed Kerno back in the middle. What a shock. Played a good game.
Who knows? Well, let's ask the question. So 52 tackles in the first half. We finished the game on 80 tackles. Is that something we can expect of them? Is that something they should be expecting of themselves? How do we take that performance as a whole? How do you know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed to react to it after how disappointed we were 7 days ago?
Anything less than what they showed us is now going to be a disappointment. They've set themselves a high bar now, and that's the expectation that we're going to be wanting from them every week because that's the kind of football we want them to be playing. And I've got people that don't even follow Carlton messaging me going, where has that been? Going, that is the kind of Carlton that you want to be seeing. And if I've got opposition supporters telling us that, can you imagine what our supporters are going to be like if we don't back it up against Gold Coast, like I said on fan cams? Like that performance as a whole is probably the best performance we've had in 2 years. And we need to continue to perform like that and have that expectation of themselves and each other as a collective. Not so much from us because we're obviously going to have high expectations, but they need to set the bar high for themselves now.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bit of a I don't know if you call it a concern about, like, I mean, it was a bit of an emotional response because of what happened the week before and that
Mhm.
drying up. So, as soon as we thought we had the game on, we sort of stopped in a sense.
Mm.
Now, do you think that was due to the fact that it's just a mentality they haven't developed yet, where they can really put the foot on the throat, or do you think they were literally just tired from how hard they worked?
Bit of both. I think because we're not used to the winning mentality and we haven't got a winning culture, they kind of just they have lapses in most games, but they kind of switched off and gone, okay, this game, we're 50 points up, this game's done and dusted. Not showing much respect to their opponent who piled on, 3 or 4 goals in a short space of time, and then they've gone, oh, shit, we need to actually hold on here. Because we were lucky we were that far up because we did the same thing against the Western Bulldogs and we all know the result there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of both. They need to work on their fitness a little bit more in the off season because in some games they look slow as. We don't know. I don't know what goes on, but the mentality needs to change. Like you have teams you're up by 50 points, put your foot down.
Yeah.
Like don't let up because just don't let up.
Is it like managing the game? I mean, you don't have to go helter-skelter for 4 quarters, but we got up 50. We started controlling the game a bit, and then that fourth quarter, we just really let up. We did. And, I keep referencing Andrew Russell. Let me play a little clip of what we were told.
What I'm hoping to bring to the Blues is, really set high standards for the players and the staff, and really work hard on creating elite habits in the players.
So this is what we know they're working on internally. This is what we know we were told. I just think that's the next step for them.
Yeah, but the question is that that's obviously driven by him, but is he being overruled on some instances? Like, is that like we've had injury reports that have come out saying, oh, this person's still a week or two away, then they get named and play. I mean, instance today came out Tommy DeConning punctured lung or collapsed lung. Now he's a test to play this weekend. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, is he being overruled? Or is it like Plowman was another one in his injury report, oh, he's still 1 or 2 weeks away, gets named and played.
Yeah.
I hope he's setting that high standard and he's continuing to set that high standard because we want these boys to be as fit as they can and, run out games. But like you said, the fourth quarter, they kind of just went, game's done and dusted.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, the injury report with Tom is interesting. All he said today was Tommy doesn't have a pec injury. He has no muscle injury, which is great. He did have some chest soreness, which we pulled him out of the game with. And my first reaction went to, oh gosh, remember Matty Cruiser? Remember when he, touch wood, all of that. But like, I don't know. It all of a sudden is a test to play. It just seems a little vague. I don't know.
Yeah, because everywhere around today it came out that he had a collapsed lung and this, that, and the other. So I'm like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting, that's a whole other topic for take up a whole other show, really, about Andrew Russell and the whole fitness program at the football club. But
correct.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have a $22.99 donation here from Blackarat, and he wants to talk about Murph. So
you don't have to ask me twice to talk about that beautiful human.
I read today. Let's talk about Murph for a sec. He says, I read today he's injured and he's getting carried through. How does this resonate considering we could have been in the 8 if we got North? I mean, yes, I don't know if Murph coming on would have really made a difference because it was a shit show before that. But
I think we were too far gone for that, to be perfectly honest.
And to be fair, he did have 10 touches in the second half. But Murph, that was hard to watch, to be honest. As a big fan, it was hard to watch. It was. I get it. He served the club and all of this, but all I could think about was, oh my God, Simo, Simo made the right call because you go a little too early and you leave a little bit in the tank, and you have the people are wondering that you could have gone on, or you go a little too late and then the game completely passes you. And people that say he'll be remembered for his 2021 season have got rocks in their head because he won't. But I hope he's got one more good game in him to finish off. It would be a real shame if he finished up and couldn't give us something,
Yeah, I was saying it to the girls. I'm like, he's done. They agreed. They said the same thing. I'm like, I don't want him to be done. Like, I don't want this to be how he ends. Like, I want one big hurrah. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we can go to the GWS game if that's when his 300th will be, because I know it'll be his 300th and possibly last. So and I kind of want him to go out on a good note.
Is he on 299 right now?
298. So if he plays this weekend, it's 299. My theory is they'll rest him against Port Adelaide with the hope of crowds in round 23 in front of our home fans for the last game of the year, play 300th and go out gracefully, me bawling my eyes out.
That is, you just know that's how it's going to go. I think Mars flagged it like months ago about it, and you just know it's true. Home fans, the fans should be back in the stadiums. Murph 300 t-shirts, which of course I'm going to buy.
Murph badges, which of course we're going to buy.
Of course.
I'm going to be decked out head to toe in everything that is Mark Murphy, and I will probably be crying before the game even starts because I know it'll probably come out that week that he's going to retire, and then as soon as that final siren goes, I'm going to be a blubbering mess.
Well, what happens if we win this week? What happens if we win next week? And what happens if GWS is a game where it's like there's a spot in the 8 and you win? What do you do? I mean, is he fit enough to play a full game? Is he good enough to play a full game right now? We're talking hypotheticals, but we're only half a game out. What happens? You have to make the call. What do you do?
You can't leave him stuck on 299, surely. That would break my heart even more than it did when we left Fish on 99, left Rowie on 99.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do they just let this season go and let him have his moment and let him play a full game? Because let's be honest, if we do make the finals, we'd just be making up the numbers based on some performances this year. Like if we make it to the finals, for instance, and play like we played against North, what was the point?
Yeah, I get you. My thing with that is we need to be in finals because we need to get finals experience into this group. As many finals games as possible. If they get belted, whatever, they need to feel finals so they know. Yeah. Like the earlier we play finals, the earlier we learn the lessons of what you. Because I mean, you remember when we had our previous run, 2009, we needed to learn the lesson to Brisbane as much as it hurt. 2010, another bad lesson to Sydney, and then once we got to 2011, we knew what was required, and it's going to be no different. I don't think with this group as well. They're going to have to learn finals football and lifting the intensity. I mean, the St Kilda game was really the closest thing I've seen them play to finals football almost ever.
Well, fun fact for you, we haven't won more than 7 games in a year since 2013. So
fantastic.
We're already 1 game ahead of that. So let's not stop here.
Fantastic. Well,
dare to dream.
Yes. Well, listen. Speaking of finals, stand by.
What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
You told me that before and I laughed, so I'm going to laugh again.
So I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. However, the reality is, as it sits, today, right this second, right now, we are on 32 points.
Correct.
And Fremantle are on 36 points.
Correct.
That's how it sits right now. Dare I say, I expect to win this week.
Now that you've put that out in the atmosphere.
I expect to win this week.
Look,
Right?
after the game they played against Melbourne, you'd want to hope we win.
They wouldn't fucking dare lose this week. Lose against Port in Adelaide. Don't lose to the Gold Coast Suns in Melbourne. You know, that's all I'll say.
I am not ready for this. I've said in the past, I'm not ready for this week. I am not ready for this week.
Well,
This is the one.
Nobody wants to play finals. Like, seriously, West Coast. I mean, what the hell? What was that? They're seventh. They're seventh right now. Freo, I'm sorry, we're better than Freo. I don't care what the argument. Yeah. GWS, okay, they got some talent in there, fair enough, and we're going to play them again. Essendon, I don't care what anyone says, we're better than them. Richmond, this is a fascinating one. We've actually won the same amount of games as Richmond. They've just lost Dusty. It's a bad loss to Freo. Have they lost belief? I don't know. I would back them to finish strongly. And then there's us. And St Kilda's also on 32 points. I would expect them to respond as well. What's the expectation? Because I think everyone's written finals off to save themselves the emotional distress. But the reality is every other team around us hasn't really asserted themselves for the 8th spot.
No, and it's kind of like a revolving door of who really wants it.
Yeah.
And had we beaten North, we'd be sitting 8th right now.
There's
Just
three
putting it out
games.
there.
There's 3 games that really piss me off. Round 2 versus Collingwood. The fucking nerve on them to do that. Anyway, not over it.
Clearly not.
Not over it. The game against West Coast, the depleted West Coast, not over it. And obviously the game against North.
I'll never get over that one.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Doggies game, we had it. I get it. There was a bad loss as well, but those 3 just makes you think how close we are. We really are that close.
When you think about it that way, yes. But when you see those performances, you kind of go, no.
Yeah.
Like the actual output in those games is kind of like,
Yeah, I know.
no.
I know.
But then you pull out a game like last week and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
So there's about this much of a chance if we do our ladder predictor.
Yes.
We have to hope everything else falls our way. So far it has, funny enough. We stuffed ourselves up last week. Let's hope we don't stuff up ourselves this week because I am not losing to the Gold Coast.
No, not this week. This is not happening. Well, let's talk a little bit about it. We've got about, we've got 10 or so minutes. More so, not necessarily about the changes, the game, but more about the changes. So what we know about the injury report from today is that TDK is a test. Eddie Betts is a 50-50. Now, McGovern looks like he is ready to go. Yeah. And Samo had 30 touches and a goal in the midfield in the reserve. So you guys at home, Shannon, what are the changes? What are we doing?
Oh, I don't actually know we need to make any, really, unless TDK doesn't come up. Because you can't drop Honey. You can't drop LOB.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I've actually, the first time this year I haven't actually got someone to drop. Yeah.
Like, I wonder what they're going to do with Charlie. Is he really just going to play 4 games in a row, or will they rest him this week and
they might not take him to Adelaide?
Yeah.
They might not take him to Adelaide. They might not, because he might play this week, play the Giants game, and not play in Port Adelaide. If they want to do it that way.
That sounds about right.
If Gov's ready, do you give him another game in the 2s this week, bring him in against Port Adelaide to replace Charlie? Or do you bring him in to replace TDK this week if Pitnet doesn't get up? Because apparently he's a test as well. He's a possibility. So Levi's only just started running, so he's not an option.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about the McGovern, get in the ruck, mate. Go and earn your 700 large. Get the fuck in the ruck, mate. Get in there. Get in
If
there.
Matt Kennedy can do it, I'm pretty sure Gov can.
Yeah. I actually saw some of the highlights and I was watching on the stream. He looked good around the ground, Gov, and he looked good. He looked really sharp. I think he's a searcher to come in. Now, I don't know, like, if Tom's okay, I think Tom plays. I think that's very clear. We're aware that David Teague's whole philosophy is to have 3 tall forwards, and let's be honest, he hasn't really had a good chance to have Gov, Charlie, and Harry to coach with. So I dare say any chance he gets, he's going to try and see it. Does that mean Jack Silvani literally becomes a midfielder? Do you drop like a Jack Noons type? Does Murphy really get a game this week? Because Samo looked like he really responded. And this is the question. It's tough because I get it, want to get him to 300, but we also want to win games of football because winning is what's more important than anything else. So it's a tough one this week.
It is. And I don't want to be that selection committee.
Let's see what everyone else.
I have Murph on the field every day of the week, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. What do we got? Saint says Murphy as the medical sub. Adrian says Gov for TDK, just the one change. Yeah, I think McGovern's important. I think so.
Yeah, I think we need that extra flyer. I mean, 2 goals for is probably not his greatest output, but it's what he did around that.
I also don't mind this one. Samo needing to prove himself. Yeah, do it again.
Yeah, back it up in a row.
Yeah, do it again. Because you can't. You're going to drop Paddy Dow, Matt Kennedy. You're not dropping any of them.
The only one I could possibly see them dropping would be Lockie O'Brien.
Yeah.
Last in, first out.
Okay.
That's just what he played well without being over dominant. And if they're gonna make a change and want to bring SPS back in, he'd be my first choice. Yeah.
I think, it's only one game. Maybe we'll see another one, but I think if we're picking between like Cottrell and O'Brien, it's young Lockie O for me.
Oh, 100%. Like he showed a bit more in that game than Cotters has put together for 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Lockie O'Brien's ability to hit Harry Mackay, lower his eyes, and actually hit Harry on the chest. I think Harry's a better mark when he gets the ball pinpointed to his chest. He can overhead mark, but also gives the opposition the opportunity to chop his arms and not get a free kick. So
yeah, well, this is the thing as well. I think a lot of people say, because it's true, we work so hard to kick goals. It's amazing what happens when there's beautiful service, like Paddy Dow lowering the eyes. Lockie O'Brien had 3 goal assists. I think they were all to Harry in the first half. And
sure they were.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you give these forwards good service. And really, yes, we kicked accurately, but they were quality spots to kick goals from. They weren't on the boundary line. They weren't overly difficult. And there was that focus as well.
It reminds me of Murph in the early days kicking to Favola, lowering his eyes.
Yeah, it sure does. How they forget.
Oh, don't even get me started. I could be here all night yelling at someone in regards to that.
Let's I did some fan Q&A this week. So we might open up the floor.
Okay.
Joshua Failer 28 on Instagram. What should we do with SPS in terms of position in the lineup?
Midfield.
So does that mean you only bring him in when he forces his way in and plays better than whoever's in there right now, and you make it cutthroat?
Yeah. I watched him struggle for the last couple of years playing off the half-back line, and just watching him a couple of times playing on the wing and in the midfield this year, he's actually played good football. And I'm pretty sure that's where they played him on the weekend in the VFL, and he dominated. So for me, definitely a midfield position. So he needs to earn his spot back in that midfield, and someone needs to have a bad game for him to come back in, unless they want to play him in a key position in the back line or otherwise.
If the penny can drop for Paddy Dow, the penny can drop for Sam Petrescu-Seaton.
100% agree.
Bro, I've got one here from Georgia Zakowski, she's saying Kemp to debut. It wasn't really a question, but it was more of a, I guess it prompts the question, what do you do with Kemp? It seems like he's going to play as a defender because that's how he's been training and playing. He's got some solid minutes into him. How do you fit Kemp in, and do you fit him in, or do you just be really patient with him and get him through till next year?
I don't know. Like, who would you, in that back line, who would you drop first? Like, if you were going to bring Kemp in, you'd obviously have to look at a Nunes or a Newman kind of position, or a Willow. But if Willow's playing on the wing, do you drop him? He's been playing. Yeah, it's a tough one. I want to see him debut, but it's like, where after last week's performance, where do you slot him in? Like, week prior, I could have put him everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like he could be a good sub. I also feel like you got to be creative. Is this the opportunity where you say, all right, you bring him out for, I don't know, either Owies or Nunes or whatever, and then you do some reshuffling. You play him in the position that Stocker's been playing in that back line, and you push Stocker up the ground to play the Nunes role or whatever.
Yeah, that's not a silly idea.
I think you got to be a bit creative to get him in there, because I reckon you want to give him a game because he's earned it, but also so he can picture something in his mind when he's doing his preseason this year.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't want him to be one of those players that debut as a sub.
Fair.
Because because if they go through the whole game and are not used, what kind of debut is that, really, in my mind? Yeah. If you're going to play him. Don't just name him as a sub.
Yeah.
And not use him.
No, spot on. Spot on. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the week that we have upcoming. Now, tomorrow morning, we have the Almost Blues Brothers podcast. They're doing a very special collaboration with Carlton Respects. It is the Carlton Respects game this week.
Love it.
Very special game, very special cause for a lot of people, myself included. The Jumper Punch tomorrow night at 8 p.m. It is going to be fire. They've got Vince on. Vince Lochisano will be on the couch tomorrow, so I expect there to be absolute fireworks. The Almost Blues Brothers will be, the Blues Footy Boys will be up after team selection on Thursday. That'll be a 6:30 p.m. show. Saturday morning, Riley's doing his thing on game day with. I
love Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings with Riley Star. He just kills it. We love his work. And then Pom's back for the watch along. I got to apologize for our guest on the watch along last week. I mean, we really want to make sure that the people we get on are up and about. And
he was flat the whole game, the poor kid.
Well, it's a St Kilda thing. It's a St Kilda thing. They don't really like football or their team, so we will learn.
I'll give him credit. He stayed to the end.
He did. No, we do appreciate him.
And he was very, very polite. I think he was a little bit too polite for Pommy.
Pommy is there to be abused. That's what he wants.
That's why he enjoyed it. He enjoyed Swoop so much.
I think that's what makes it so. I mean, we've built that relationship with Luke over the years, so we know it's it's banter. And I mean, maybe with Cardi we can build that over the years, but maybe we'll get him comfortable. We might need to go to a pub with him and do the watch along. We'll get him a little drunk and then loosen him up a bit.
Where it leads.
But Pom will be back. We have a 1:45 p.m. game. Fan cam straight afterwards. Can't wait for that. I don't want to be doing therapy on Saturday. I'm not going to lie. Not this Saturday. Don't disappoint the good work. Don't unpack the good work that was done.
Like I said on Friday night, you're only as good as the game you played before. And if we can't back it up, it was for nothing.
Can you imagine they fucking turn up and just do,
Don't even put that in the universe, Terry.
Sorry, we don't claim that. We do not claim that. No,
nope,
we don't.
Not happening. It is not coming from this show. I am not putting my name to that. No.
Love it.
We are winning.
Thanks so much for joining. Appreciate you and your time. Hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
And let's be happy this week.
Up the baggers.
Up the baggers. Thanks, guys.